All right, today I have a bit of a different video for you. You may or may not know that I am a musician on the weekends, and it's a really fun hobby, but also make a pretty good side hustle living from it. This is my Godin A6 Ultra acoustic electric guitar. This thing is my pride and joy. As you can see, it's probably pretty well loved. I believe that instruments are meant to be played, so I don't buy expensive instruments to set them in a glass case. I buy them to play them. Something that happened to me recently at a show, there's a 9-volt battery slot back here, and I have it taped because the design's not very good. But something that happened was I went to replace the battery, and this plastic 9-volt terminal, I guess you would say, it's actually broken. And thankfully, I didn't completely sever the thing at my last gig, but you may or may not be able to see. I'll zoom in a little bit and try to show you. This plastic is completely broken. Now, the terminal itself is still good, but I don't want this to break at a future show and run into issues where I am dead in the water. Now, I always recommend bringing a backup. It's just wise, but for future proofing, I'm going to fix this today. And I bought on Amazon just some cheap little 9-volt connectors that are wired. So I have these, and I'm just going to do a simple patch job, so to speak, and just solder them together. And hopefully this fits. It looks about the same form factor. So I should be able to just splice these wires and be good there. Now, because I've never really opened this up to this degree of the cavity, I'm not really sure what's going on in here, how long these wires are. Part of me does want to just solder this directly. So I think that's what I'm going to try to do. Instead of trying to splice the wires together, I want to actually go a little bit deeper and see if I can solder this directly to the guitar board. It is a little more complicated that way. However, I feel like it'll be a much cleaner job when all's said and done. So let's just get started. I'm not wearing any gloves today. Normally I wear gloves, but I'm not working with any chemicals that are really going to dry out my hands. And I've already burned myself twice this week, so I'm not really worried about burning my hands any more than I already have. But I'll try to do my best to capture this all. My camera has been doing something funny lately. It just stops recording. And there are forums that say that that's due to a number of things, whether that's a bad speed on the memory card or something to do with the formatting. I'm not sure, but I'm actually going to hook up my light here. I have a little work light that I normally use, and I'm not satisfied with the lighting. That's a little bit better, I suppose. It's not very even, but the important thing is I can see, but you should be able to see okay too. So I'm going to take this battery compartment off and see what we're dealing with underneath here. Probably I'll have to take off this back plate to get to the rest of it. I do have to take that off when I change strings, and quite honestly, the interior doesn't look that complicated. It's all circuit boards handling the preamps. I'm hoping that this isn't such a long wire that it runs all the way up here, but it might be. Yeah, this is just the housing for it, but that's okay. I'll go ahead and pull this out. That's the spring, so why not? Won't hurt anything. Let's see if I can look down inside here, see where this is going. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go ahead and just take the rest of this off. Not a problem. I will say this is an amazing guitar, but if you break a string during a show, it is not very easy to change. But I do love the sound of the guitar. It does exactly what I need it to do. All right, so that plate just comes off. All right. Yeah, I think my fears are realized. So this goes all the way up. There's a preamp up here. I'll show you. Yeah, right there. And quite frankly, I don't feel like running a wire all the way up there. So yeah, I guess probably what I'll do is I'll just splice this together. And it should be okay. I don't see why not. So what I'm going to do is kind of eyeball this. Let me get my wire cutters here. And it doesn't, I guess it doesn't really matter what the length is, but I'm going to try to do this in sort of a clean fashion here. You know what? I can always shorten it. Right, now I was thinking this is probably a 30. Yeah. All right. Now, I'm not a pro at splicing. I'm sure there's a right and a wrong way to do it. And probably the easiest way to do this would be with those little alligator pinch clips. But you know, I'm not a professional. What I like to do is I like to just twist these like so and then solder them together. And I'm sure that, again, I'm sure that there's a better way to do this. But I got rid of my helping hands. So this is also just kind of, well, not doing a very good job of that, am I? Or, you know, let me try something. Instead of splicing the wires, I shouldn't have cut this, but let me look at something then. I don't know. It should be okay, right? I mean, what did I put this through this? I wonder if I could just solder them directly to this and be okay. I've got 3 of these, so there's nothing that says I can't mess with this. All right, so let me see if I can take this protective covering off. Okay. And these are, well, those are attached under there. That's actually very well made, if I'm being honest with you. All right, well, maybe I'll go back to my original plan. I was going to solder these directly on, and I suppose I could, but because they're underneath those things, I don't even think I'm going to bother with that. All right, back to plan A. I'll just solder this guy. This wire is really thin and really crappy, if I'm being honest. Like really bad. I'm going to tin it first. And I'm doing my tinning off to the side here because I'm not trying to solder anything over the top of my guitar. You know, just not trying to burn through the wood. All right. A little bit more. All right, cool. Now, if you can see what I'm doing, I'm going to Twist these together. And again, I don't have helping hands, so this is going to suck. But what I am going to do, let me get something to just kind of cover up my guitar. How's this for professional? I'm just going to put a piece of sandpaper. That's real professional. That looks clean. They're not going to know. It's my guitar anyway. And now all I'm doing is just gooping this, making a really nice solid solder connection. And I could really take this a step further and probably put one of those, I don't even know the word. I can't think of the word right now. They're like the screws for the wires, you know, whenever you do electrical work, you can screw them. Somebody, you can drop in the comments what those things are called. I'm not an educated person. I do have a box of them here, though. Wire connectors? That's all they're called? I don't know. Sounds made up to me. Let me see, though. Let me see if this is the way I would want to do this. Wow. Well, that just ripped him up. So let's just not do that. How about that? Let's go back to what my original plan was. Well, that was embarrassing. Silly. Absolutely silly. Okay. All right. Let's try this again. Oh. Good stuff. I like it. I like it. All right. And again, I don't know that this is the professional way to do it, but what I like to do is then just fold it. And I should have put some heat shrink tubing on this. Probably would have been a lot more professional looking. But I think I'll just wrap it with some electrical tape. Because again, you know, I'm really professional and, you know, you're watching this because I'm a professional. Probably didn't need that much tape. It's quite all right. Okay, that's one splice done. And let me find my other wire in here, which is right here. And we'll do the same thing to the other one. Hook it back up, and we'll be good to go. I don't think I exposed enough good wire there. I think I was actually chopping it a little too small on the gauge. I think this might be a 26. Righty-roo. Nice. Good thick solder connection there. And I'll get some more electrical tape. Once I figure out where I've thrown it, because I can't keep track of anything. Oh, it managed to roll off my table. Ugh. Okay. Bing. I'm gonna use a little bit less tape this time. All right, same thing. We're gonna fold it over. Put some tape on this bad boy. Okay, right on. I like it. So now, let's thread this guy back through. Hopefully these aren't a problem. Yeah. We've got plenty, and I do mean plenty of slack. So that's okay. Let me go ahead and put these screws back in. Reassembly is simply the opposite. This wasn't really a taking stuff apart video. I just wanted to take that off. It's important to note too that because these are wood screws, you want to try to reset them in the same way. So you turn them a little bit to the left till they get a good click. Because if you keep trying to rethread them, eventually you're just going to make a smooth hole, and you'll have to use toothpicks and maybe some wood glue to make these work again, which does work. I mean, there's nothing that says it doesn't work. You just want to avoid having to do too much of that. Okay, good stuff. All right, test the battery with the old tongue test. You know, it's very good for you. All right. Wow, you know, this feels like a really robust connection. I'm not going to lie. It feels like a good solid click. All right, and this is to help you lift up the battery. So pop this guy back in there. Feels like a nice smooth fit. And, you know, it's never really fit in there quite right. But let's see here. Well, looks good to me. Cool. Don't really have a way to test it right this second because I didn't hook anything up. However, let me go ahead and just finish putting it back together, and I can do a quick plug-in test to see if everything works. I don't see why it wouldn't work. Great guitars. If you're a guitar player out there, I highly recommend a Godin. I do a one-man show that does a lot of looping and bass guitar emulation, drum patterns on the guitar, and this thing is taking a beating. But most importantly is I like to run my shows really loud, and I don't get any feedback. It's really awesome. I was playing a Taylor before, and there's just something about those Taylors. There's a sound, they're like a quacky mid sound, and it's just, it was feeding back even with the feedback buster, and I'm not running so loud to where it's obnoxious. It's just I was standing very close to my speakers, which, yeah, obviously it's going to cause feedback. But if I EQ'd it out too much, it just kind of ruined the sound. All right, guys. Let me hook it up really quickly. I've got a speaker. And off camera here, I've got just a little Behringer Eurolive here. And excuse me while I grab the cables for it. All right. Real simple stuff, just plugging this in. And I got a guitar cable here. And I have 2 jacks on this guitar. One is for the piezo, one is for the magnetic pickup. And obviously I want the piezo because the battery is powering this preamp. So then I'll just plug it into my Behringer here. Make sure my volume's down. All right. Now, it's probably not in tune, so it's not terrible. All right. Look at that. Cool. And there was another thing that this guitar was doing that I was curious about. Sometimes it would pop because of this battery. I think this has fixed that too. So, hey, good little quick fix today. I know it's hit my microphone. Good little fix today. I know it's kind of different because I'm doing a guitar instead of something electronic like a video game, but maybe this will help somebody. And I just wanted to document this because it's been a while since I've done a video. So thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it.